Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how are you this week?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tonight is where we give that disclaimer before we begin that if you have not eaten and you are on an empty stomach, pause the show, get a snack, come back to us. Because we talk a lot about food on this show from time to time, and you came to me with this topic this week because it's something that you get hit with constantly as a travel specialist. So I'm going to let you actually flat out introduce what we're going to talk about tonight, because there's a lot of planning that goes into what we're going to mention here, and it's just loaded with food.
You know, I think we talk about food more than time to time. We talk about it frequently.
Yes.
And I came up with the idea for this show, which I'm going to put a disclaimer that I thought it was this show. And as I wrote out our outline that you and I work off of, I came to you and I said, it's not this show. It's a 3-part series. It is so large.
Yes.
And we talk about food for different events that Disney has. We certainly go in great detail when we talk about the festivals and all those festival booths. But one of the things that I've seen a huge uptick with Disney doing is we get these foodie guides. And as I went through my emails, there's a lot more of them than I thought. And I'm now calling this holidays that we only find in Disney World and Disneyland. Some of them are months that are celebrated in different parts of the country. But we're learning about Dole Whip Day. I throw that one in there first for Jeff, of course. Flavors of Florida celebration, World Princess Week, Asian American and Pacific Island Heritage Month, Mother's Day, Pixar Fest food. And literally with just those couple of guides that I'm talking about, we've got about 200 items for you to try. So where people used to plan to get Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party or Flower and Garden Festival, I think people are really looking who are into food and unique flavors, or those who are closer to Disney and maybe do several weekend trips a year instead of a week trip, that there can be great fun in these festivals, holiday celebrations that they are now doing. And some of them, honestly, you can do without any park admission.
Well, and a lot of them go on for a long time, right? So some of them are very short, but some of them have a longer shelf life. So
it is interesting. I think the shortest one is 3 days, and then we move to about 11 weeks. So they definitely run the gamut there.
So essentially, the way we're going to break this down for you folks is that we're going to give you really kind of the name of what the celebration is, and then the dates of when they occur. Some of them are occurring right now within the window that you're listening. Some of them have already occurred. And then we're going to break this into several parts, several different shows. So what you're going to hear now is going to be right around the summertime and maybe even into the early fall, as we're approaching early fall now. And then as we go through this particular little sub-series of what we're doing, you'll hear the different times of the year that you can make some plans, all with the hope that if you hear something that you really want, you can reach out to that travel specialist and say, this is the time of year I want to go because I heard this and I think it would be fun for my traveling party. So
many great options here. I think I could move to Walt Disney World and go into the park every day and only eat specialty food now.
Yes. So let's begin. One of them you mentioned was Flavors of Florida. So let's start there. I know that's not currently going on, but why don't you break that down for us?
It's not. It just ended, but it's one that I think is really unique. Everybody always looks at Disney as a big corporation, but there's so much they do behind the scenes to give back. And this one is really about giving back to the agriculture of Florida and getting people aware. We all obviously know Florida oranges, but really they get a lot of growers and different people involved. In 2024, the festival ran from July 1st to August 11th, and there were 52 unique food items.
Wow.
Very favorites from it, of course, Orange Bird, a special cake that you could make at the Patisserie in Disney Springs, layers of Grand Marnier soaked vanilla chiffon cake, with fruit, mandarin orange cream, and white chocolate crisp pearls. What's not to love?
Man,
And again, if we
it just
wanted
kept
to
going.
stay out of the park, a lot of this did center in Disney Springs. Head over to Deluxe Burger and enjoy a key lime pie shake.
That's right in your wheelhouse.
That's Florida there.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's interesting what you said there too, that it's not necessarily in the theme park, because a lot of the times when we talk about the food and the festivals and things like that, we immediately go to Epcot. That's not what you're describing here.
There are going to be some of the ones that we talk about that are going to be in theme parks and in resorts. There are some that are heavier in Disney Springs. In particular, I will say that the ganachery and the patisserie, my least favorite word to pronounce there, are very quick to participate in any celebration Disney has. So you can always find specialty product at both of those. I think that they're obviously creative outlets more than hamburgers and pasta and that type of thing. There's a lot of opportunity for them, and they continually knock it out of the park, no pun intended.
So the next couple we're going to talk about you're going to have a chance to experience kind of right now if you want. The first one comes to us, to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, which Day of the Dead, essentially, is what we're describing here, right?
Yes, and I am sad that this one only takes place in Disneyland. Obviously, I love Disneyland, but I'd love to see them make this a coast to coast, and maybe we'll see more of it as they're bringing more Encanto into the park. This one is August 23rd to November 2nd. 8 food options for this. And again, I always love some of the dessert options. A vanilla layer cake with a cinnamon mousse and a sweet cream cheese frosting. And again, how does that fit into the theme? Of course, it's then frosted with orange and pink flowers and has burgundy layers inside. There's a specialty taco you can get, which has a pineapple marinated pork with avocado, salsa, Spanish rice, and refried beans. Oof. And then there is their Carnitas West burrito, which is a house-made pork carnitas with Spanish rice, refried beans, cilantro, onions, salsa verde, and salsa rojo with homemade chips. They do a lot of their own food preparation out there versus buying a lot of things and then repurposing them, which I also think is great.
Well, and everything you just described there is right in my wheelhouse, from the carnitas burrito to the tacos to the vanilla layer cake. I mean, you could just go through, you could split that as a party right there, and that'd be very, very comfortable. So that would be fun.
And I think it also shows, we always talk about how people say, I don't want hamburgers and chicken fingers for a week.
Yeah, of course.
This is as opposite of hamburgers and chicken fingers as you're going to get.
Yes, pineapple marinated pork tacos is not exactly hamburgers and chicken fingers. But let's segue. That was, you said, August 23rd to November 2nd, Disneyland only.
Correct.
We talk a lot about, and we mentioned it most recently, the Halloween season beginning in August for Disney. So Halloween is certainly something that they choose to celebrate pretty in a lengthy way.
And they always have had, for the parties, specialty food, and you can only get it after the party starts. Not even that 4 p.m. when you can get in with a party ticket, because they don't want to sell it to non-party goers. But now they've expanded their menu to other specialty Halloween treats available to everybody, not only in the park, but in many resorts. And they do, for Halloween, tend to stick to a lot of desserts. Mm-hmm. One of the cutest ones that I saw was a vampire stitch cake, a chocolate cake with a raspberry ice cream cone on top at Kona Island. So Stitch was obviously dressed up as your vampire.
Sure.
A haunted forest apple mousse, a green cake with a cookies and cream mousse covered with a sour apple mousse to give it that green coloring, available over at the Contemporary.
Nice.
And then, of course, it wouldn't be Puerto Orleans Riverside if they didn't dress up their beignets for the season. They have goulash beignets. They're standard Mickey ones, dusted with cookies and cream powder, so it gets that black and grayish look to it,
Yep.
and a special marshmallow drizzle on it. So a lot of fun with that one too.
Yeah. Halloween is a good time over there. But as we move on, there's something that if you're listening right now, you've got about 3 or 4 days left of World Princess Week.
There are 11 options for that in parks and resorts. And one of the other things that they've done that I'm really pleased about is some of the resort food. When they first started doing this, back when they had the frozen aqua desserts, and I was determined for all of you to go find everyone, give it a sample, and let you know. It was hard because I had to get to 7 or 8 resorts. They don't let you drive and park at a lot of them anymore. You've got to take their transportation. So now what we're finding is if it's a resort thing, there tends to be 3 to 6 resorts that are carrying the same cupcake or the same specialty bread, so that it's a little easier for you to get someplace kind of quickly. Yeah. And for World Princess Week, my favorite of the 11 was a Rapunzel ganache pop, a dark chocolate with a vanilla bean covered in a purple chocolate with a big yellow braid, and of course the flowers in that braid that Rapunzel is so famous for.
Now, you mentioned that they're at several parks, and I mean several park and resorts. Like, is this something that, like, they have a pattern as to where it is? Are they placing them in different parts of the resort? Like, there's at one Epcot area, one Magic Kingdom area. Like, does there seem to be a plan, or is it more randomized?
I would say it's a little more randomized. Some of them I even noticed, not particularly for this one, but some of the others, like the cupcake, would be at all 3 all-star resorts.
Got it.
So it's not that it's specifically one in each, but it definitely was spread out so that if you were on the gondola, you could get somewhere. If you were on the monorail, you could get somewhere. If you're over in the Epcot area. But then when you talk about things, let's say sharing the boat in Disney Springs, not every one of those was included for opportunities.
Makes sense. Okay.
But an easy opportunity, if it was a resort only thing and you had an Epcot day or a Hollywood Studios day, typically to pop out on that gondola ride and run over and grab a treat.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes those are the most fun days that people have, is when they can float around on those types of things. So don't knock that at all. Those are the experiences that are going on kind of right now that you can go and take part in. The rest of what we got here, we're going to work our way backwards from July, back. So for those of you that are planning maybe 12 or 11 months in advance, keep an eye on these dates too, just so you have an idea of what they are. And the next one that we're going to talk about, you laid here just for me, and that's Dole Whip Day.
It is Dole Whip Day. And I think, kind of to piggyback on what you just said, one of the things I think we're going to see in the coming year, we're going to see all of these and more. Kind of how I dubbed Epcot should be renamed Park of the Festivals.
Right.
We're seeing these, some of them overlapping, some of them right up against each other. So the foodie guides are great because there seems to be some bit of specialty. You'd be hard pressed to miss every one of, have nothing in your week-long stay.
No.
But Dole Whip Day, as its name implies, should be a day. But with the love of Dole Whip, they want to make sure they gave it 3 days. Last in 2024, this past year, it was July 18th to the 21st. So nothing like a refreshing Dole Whip middle of the summer there.
And they roll out some different kinds for you.
Obviously, the chefs loved this one. They brought in Dole Whip machines to places that they didn't, and they created 43 Dole Whip specialty treats.
Nice.
And I love when they color or flavor the Dole Whip. So my favorite from that event was the I Lava You float.
Yeah.
A passion fruit and Fanta strawberry over Dole Whip with that nice color blend in it.
Very cool.
The Rapunzel sundae, which was a lemon version of a Dole Whip and a mixed berry. So you got that yellow and purple braid that Rapunzel is obviously known for.
Yeah.
The mommy and daddy drink version of this could be found over in Animal Kingdom. They did a Zazu float, which was lime and coconut over your Dole Whip covered in blue carousel.
Ooh.
I think that one needs to go on the year-round menu. I'm not sure what somebody was thinking for 3 days only. And then, of course, if the Dole Whip is a little sweet or it's not quite for you, there were Dole Whip cupcakes to be found all around property with the icing to look like that fresh swirl for you.
Very cool. I love the Dole Whip. It's just iconic. It lives forever in my mind, in my heart, and when I'm there, definitely in my stomach. So
everybody has their connection to Disney. For most, it's the castle or the fireworks.
No, not for me. It's just Dole Whip. It's just Dole Whip across the board. But one thing that Disney has historically just been very, very proud to celebrate is our American heritage, and the 4th of July is certainly no exception to that.
It is not, and I'm going to digress off of food. They do a lot for the military and military salutes, and one of the things that they often get on the 4th of July that I love if I can be there for is the Thunderbird flyover. It does vary. Sometimes it's right down Main Street. Sometimes it's over Epcot. But if you have the opportunity to see that high in the sky above a Disney park, or quite frankly, anywhere in the country, They are amazing in their flying formations.
Yeah.
But we get 10 red, white, and blue treats. A big, again, heat of summer. There's no mystery when the date is for this one. Red, white, and blue slushie available. That 3 colors to kind of make up your cup. And a great 3-colored layer cheesecake, red, white, and blue, featured at Contempo Casual and Gasparilla's. So sometimes those chef teams work together to create those experiences, and again, available in more than one spot.
So one of the things that we talk about constantly is the intellectual property bank that Disney has, right? And so there are years that are going to come by where they're going to celebrate a particular anniversary of one of the things that they've done in the storied history of their company. The Lion King anniversary was no exception to that.
And I think that's why I say I think we're going to see a lot more of these things coming. People who are regulars at the park go crazy for these snack hunts with all these specialty options. And so although the Lion King anniversary, which did just occur in July, is not going to happen again, we're going to see it, as you said, with other intellectual property. They brought out 10 unique food items, and some of them were simple that they kind of focused on that we see various times throughout the year, like the Lion King, the Lion Paw print cookie. But a unique one they had, again, heat of summer. That's what they're looking for to bring out things that might not sell when it's a little cooler. I think we see a real trend in these specialty snacks. The Zazu ice cream sandwich, 2 blue sugar cookies to get that Zazu coloring with vanilla ice cream in the middle and a chocolate Zazu medallion on top.
Oh man, that one would do it for me right there. I mean, that sounds great. Obviously, for anybody that travels to Walt Disney World at any time of the year, you know that there's a tremendous amount of Pride merchandise that is sold in Walt Disney World. There's a tremendous amount of support from the LGBTQ community. Pride Month in June is celebrated very, very intensely in Walt Disney World. It's one of the most beautiful times to visit, and their food options in that time period are certainly not left to anybody's imagination. They come to play in June.
I mean, with the opportunity to showcase a rainbow on your food, how bad could it be?
Right, of course.
Honest.
Yeah.
12 different food items. I think with this one we saw they didn't go for the massive quantity of different things, but they took those items and they put them in a lot of places. So for instance, the strawberry cupcake with a vanilla icing and covered in rainbow sprinkles was at 10 resorts. So a third of the places had that item. And we saw multiple items going into each place instead of often, while I had mentioned that a lot of the resorts have stuff, they will often have one thing at each resort, where here they were able to bring in more. One of the other items that they had in multiple places, in parks and in resorts, was their mousse dome. I am just a sucker for mousse. I don't really care what flavor it is. All mousse is perfect in my mind.
There you go.
And they do it in those round chocolate tart shells filled with mousse. And then this one was the rainbow striped Mickey. So you got all the different colors of gel on the top to spiffy up your mousse with a big chocolate Mickey head on it. Definitely a winner there.
Can't beat that. Can't beat that. So as we go a little bit further back in the calendar, as I said, we're kind of working our way backwards right now. We celebrate Mother's Day.
And Mother's Day is one of the ones that they don't give a lot of days to be honest. It's usually one day has a lot, and then certain locations will do a second or a third day. You can often find a specialty Mother's Day brunch. My one complaint with that, before you all call me, is that they don't announce those in advance, which drives me crazy. The Mother's Day brunches we typically hear about anywhere from 15 to 40 days out is when they'll come out with those. But they came out with 10 great treats, including a sunflower mini cake. I guess they decided all of us moms are sunny and bright.
Yes.
And then an eclair that is lemon and lavender flavored with pink, purple, and yellow flowers on top. So a unique way to present a little bouquet to mom there.
Well, and the color scheme tends to be those brighter colors. So we'll like you said, we'll pretend all moms are happy and merry and bright, especially when you're in Walt Disney World. It's
all the time.
That's it. That's how it goes. We had talked about June being Pride Month. So in May, Disney celebrates Asian American and Pacific Islands Heritage Month.
Say that one 10 times fast.
Asian American and Pacific Islands Heritage Month.
That is May 1st to the 31st. And again, a big menu here, almost as large as festival menus, 40 plus food items and drinks. It had a lot more food to it than dessert, which is also nice to see. More of those festival booth styles, though not all served in festival locations, served in quick service and sit-down locations, but so that you're eating something a little bit more substantial. This also had huge participation in Disney Springs. Just about every restaurant or snack place there offered things. Splitsville did a golden spider roll, which was a tempura fried soft shell crab with cucumber and avocado sushi.
Yeah.
Anybody
that's a sushi fan, you say spider roll, they immediately know. They're already there.
Backlot in Hollywood Studios, a teriyaki tofu bowl. And then over at Tiffin's, buttered chicken with chickpeas and squash. So you really see the different kind of outlets that are hosting this food. You've got signature, you've got fast food, you've got snacks. They really take this Heritage Month and want to make sure it's infused everywhere, because not that long ago, it wasn't something that people were even aware of and what was part of their heritage. So it was a great way to infuse those things.
Well, and part of the things that I love about what we covered tonight and what we'll cover as we move on, like you go all the way back to when we were talking about, the stuff for the Day of the Dead that ranges from late August to early November, and then all the way to Asian American Pacific Islands Heritage Month. Like these are cultures that have such dynamic and specific and really incredible culinary options. So to me, it's like everything else Disney does. They make every attempt to make it as authentic as possible. And when they do that, they're exposing people. Sometimes this is the first place some people will be exposed to not only some of these cultures, but some of these dishes and drinks and things like that. So I really love that they do it. And I'm happy that we took the time tonight to talk about really one piece of the calendar year where these happen. And as we said, we're going to break this down a little bit further so we get the whole 12 months to you. So I appreciate the offer. It was a really good idea for a show. So thanks for bringing it.
Thanks. I will also say that one thing that Disney never lacks that I love about these is the presentation. And it's so great to see the work that the chefs do. And they used to have a food tour in Magic Kingdom that I took, and actually we did an episode on years ago, where the chefs came out and explained to us how they even come up with these ideas. And I remember thinking at the time, they were really doing them for about 5 or 6 events. And now I think they must love that every month they get an opportunity to kind of flex their skills and show off some unique items. And in turn, again, you all get to eat some unique items instead of feeling like everything is standard park fare.
Well, and as we know, and as you know, because this is your life, there's always something to celebrate. And so I think it's a great way to infuse the food in it. Thank you for bringing it to the table this week, both literally and figuratively. And I hope you have a great week. We'll talk soon.
You too.
That's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Dis. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Dis by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week. And as always, keep making memories.